Hello, hello. Hey guys, I am live today. It is April 16th, 2024. How is all? How is all? How are all of you guys doing? I tried to stop myself there for a second because I said y'all in my brain, and then I was like, you guys. Anyway, I just got off a very powerful prophetic, empowering uh, preview to the Wonder Conference at Bethel out in Redding, California. Whoo! If you are a woman in leadership, women at all that is hungry, I really encourage you to go now and buy the virtual online tickets if you have a chance. That's my plug. I might actually here in the Springs host sometimes for people to come and watch it because y'all it is so good. So good. And it's not even started yet. It was like the pre-call. um and anyway, so that's my little plug today. I'm waiting to see if there's anybody that's going to hop on live, but if not, that's okay. We're going to just keep rolling with it. I said I was going to show up every Tuesday and talk about the previous day's episode on podcast coaching for kingdom entrepreneurs. So, this is going to be a conversation all about your core values and why they matter as a podcaster. So, right now, I want you to just think about if you're watching this in the replay, are you put a 1 if you're fairly confident that you know what core values are. Number 2, if you're like, "Well, I know, but I'm not 100% sure." And that's okay. So, once you do that, I want you to write in some of your top core values. What are some of those things that really matter to you? So for me, growth, connection, um uh oh my goodness, I just drew a blank on my top core values. But let's just stick with growth and connection. So obviously, that's going to filter into my style as a podcaster, as somebody who is hosting a podcast for podcasters that are kingdom entrepreneurs. So of course, I'm going to want to connect with my people. I love hearing from my people. You'll hear me say on the podcast and in here, it is my love language to hear from you. Not out of a necessarily need of like needing confirmation that I'm doing a good job, although it always feels good to hear that, but more out of I want to know that I am connecting to your heart. And I think that's what makes me unique as a podcast coach, as a podcast manager, is that I really genuinely care about your whole heart, not just your podcast. We're not just a podcast service. We are a team of people that genuinely cares about your life and your mission, and more than anything else, your connection with Jesus and how you're operating the call that he has put on your life. Um, so that affects me in my podcast in that way, because I'm not going to just continue to put out just information. I want to bring information to you that is valuable and that helps you to grow, because that is another one of my core values. And as I learned in the DISC assessment with Andrea, is that input is one of um, my top things is like, I want to learn. I want to learn and I want to bring people and I want to inspire and I want to motivate you to live the best life possible. So, of course, that's all going to matter. I don't want to just put out episodes that are just information. I want to put out transformation. And I hope that it is that way with you as well. Um, so, with that being said, all right, I want to know, have you thought about, and comment in the chat if you're watching this in the replay, how do you think that the core values that you put in the chat are affecting you as a podcast host? I would love to see that. And I'll come back and comment on this since It's pretty quiet in here today. I'm just at the moment talking to myself. Um, but I do want to know. I want you to just think about, how does that affect you as you press record, as you create content, as you create engagement in your community, as you present yourself. How are those things playing out for you? Now, I put inside of our Facebook group a link to Andrea Johnson's core values worksheet, which is super cool to do. And I just want to breeze over this because it's really valuable. And I'll put the link inside of our Facebook group comments at the end to where you can have this sheet in front of you. So if you are one of those people that were like, you know what, I'm not quite sure what my core values are, and really, how do I take this and apply it into my podcast? And I think this sheet of paper will be really helpful for you. It's just a quick download. And all right, so I'm just going to read over it real quick. Uncovering your values is like discovering your own inner compass, enabling you to make decisions based on what's important and fulfilling to you. Everything you do, including your purpose, vision, and goals, should flow from your values. They're the foundation upon which you build everything else. They aren't morals or ethics, those are subjective ideas based on your values. They aren't your beliefs, which can be inherited or developed over time through experiences or circumstances. Beliefs are changeable. Values tend to reflect your uniqueness and individuality. They also tend to be the most personal expression of you, and they are non negotiable things in your life. Values tend to be intangible, but documentable, inherent, your internal compass, and inspirational. It brings you joy. So, when you don't know your values, decisions are difficult, processes are muddy, and boundaries are overrun. When one of your values is undercut or dishonored, you feel tension or conflict. But when you do understand them, decisions can become clear, allowing you to chart your course with confidence. Okay, and she has a little bit more in there. I don't want to spoil all of that, but I want to just give you a couple of exercises that she suggests here. Um, and they're really helpful. So you're going to grab a journal and you're going to answer a couple of these questions, and you're going to have to do it several times. So this is not a one and done. Okay, now I have my core values. You're going to really have to process, come back, take your time, really look internally. And I know she mentioned inside of the podcast, again, go listen to the podcast episode if you have not yet listened to it. It is really amazing to hear her explain core values. And go listen to that, but also do these next exercises. So, number one, if someone who knows you well were asked what you stand for, what would they say? And I want you to write down 5 things that come to your mind. And I'm just going to give you a couple of these because I really want you to download this PDF from her. Number 2, what things do you consider to be non-negotiable in your life? List at least 5. And what makes them non-negotiable? And number 3, now there's 5 things, and it's all in a sequential order, which is really helpful. So again, you're going to find this link in the comments once I'm off the live, and I'll let you go and do this on your own. So number 3, next, look for where each of these values show up in your daily life. List as many instances as you can for each one. Now let's take my connection one. I really value connection in all areas of my life. If my husband and I are not connected, it throws me off. I am not one to live in a place of disconnected. If any of my kids are disconnected with me, I pick up on it like that, and I want to make it right. I will do everything in my own power, in my conversations to try to reconnect with that kid. If there is friends that I feel disconnected to, and the Lord brings them up, I want to feel connected. And I already shared with you, as far as a podcaster, I want to make sure that I am connected to the heart of the people that are listening. So that would be an example. Now, again, I really want you to go find this PDF and work through the rest of this exercise. It is really valuable and it's going to help you think about how you approach your podcast as a podcaster. Now, I wanted to, with this live today too, I wanted to ask, um, because we hit on something that was really like I love talking about personality tests, and she is a disc assessment coach, Andrea. Um, Again, go listen to the podcast episode. She is a John Maxwell certified disc coach. So, talk about having a brilliant plan of let me take this tool and then activate through coaching in tangible goals in real time. Like, brilliant, brilliant. And so we start talking about disc. So I'm curious in the chat, if you're watching this later, I would love to know, what is your disc assessment? What are your top couple of them? Mine is S and I. And I know Megan Nielsen inside of this group is an S and I. I'd love to hear what you guys are. And then also, what is your favorite personality assessment? Would it be DISC, Strength Finders? Ooh, shout out to Allison Gray. She's inside of this Facebook group too. She is like a genius in the Strength Finders world. So make sure you connect with her if that's your GM. Strength Finders, Enneagram. I know there's got to be a lot of Enneagram girls out here, or men and women. If you know your Enneagram number, I would love to know your Enneagram number. Put it down below in the chat. And man, if there's any other personalities assessments that you love, put it in there. I know my dad was like all about Myers-Briggs. I'm not kidding. Like, every time we got together, he had this huge book that he would executive coach back in the day when coaching wasn't even a thing. But he would go to these, you know, executive businesses and coach the leadership team through Myers-Briggs, and he loved it. And so I know it can be so useful in business, in your family, in your life, in goal setting, and even in your podcasting. So again, going off of one of my top core values, which is connection, I would love to hear from you and what your core values are, what your personality assessments, your favorite ones, and which ones are you in each of those, if you know, and how do you think that that affects you as a podcaster? All right. Well, that's all I got today. This 13-minute live here, and I am really excited. I have a couple of new solo episodes coming up. And again, like I said, I'm about to enter into this Wonder Conference the next few days, and I could not be more excited for Holy Spirit to show up and encourage women all over the world, not only in Redding, California, but also online, which is where I'm going to be attending. And I'm just excited to be able to come back here and share a little bit more about that inside of the podcast Coaching for Kingdom Entrepreneurs. All right. Love you guys. And I pray blessings over your voice, and to be bold, be seen, be heard, be known. Bye.